The next place we went was Florence. Again, allow yourself a day of just breathing and figuring out what's going on. Go have a cup of coffee there and ask questions and find out, hear from other people. Get involved. It's really easy to meet people, and most people are really nice. So in Florence, we stayed at a B&B, and it was really great. The host was just really nice, Stefano, and it was Homedo. And it was on, I want to say, Via Cali something. Anyway, it was really great. I wish I had more information on that, but I'm just sort of winging this to give you guys some information on travel. Always have euros with you. Do the exchange rate. There's a couple places called Change. They're red, you'll see them. And you'll probably get your best rate, and when you go back, you can get a better rate. You can get the same rate without having to pay additional. You're just basically a customer of theirs. They have them at the airport, they have them in Venice, Florence. You'll run into them. Just make sure you got that. You got a couple euros, because we tried to pay for almost everything in credit card, and we were very, very fortunate. But if you're going to a small cafe in the afternoon or evening, a lot of them don't take credit cards, they take cash, and you're stuck. Taxis don't always take credit cards. They usually want cash. Uber's the only one you can do, and in Florence, we had an Uber, and it was actually great. They don't like the Uber because there was a big deal about, Uber taking over the taxis and ruining the economy. So I think that's one of them. In Florence, we walked our first night about 15 minutes out of the main square and found ourselves the best little pizza place. It was an Italian restaurant, and we met the owner. And almost all these places, you'll see a guy standing out pitching, come on in, or just, got questions or what have you. Most of the time, they're not pushing you. But more than likely, you're going to see the owner, if you're having dinner there or something like that, having dinner with his friends, and they're just hanging out. That we experienced that more than once. There was a place in Rome that was probably the best that Stefano had recommended, and it was Giannini San Lorenzo. And that's Giannini San Lorenzo. And he had referenced Ricardo to say hi and find out, if he can help us. Well, the doors just opened for us. They were full, but they gave us entry just because they knew Stefano, and it was great. We felt really respected and special, and the whole night was great. Their food was amazing. Yeah, it was just great. I think that's all I can really think about for I really think if I can stress more to you about your stay, one night is just a waste. You need a minimum of 2, and 4 is optimal. So if you're going to stay someplace, plan 3 or 4 places and just stay there, because you can go from there out. Like when we were in Florence, we ended up going to Cinque Terre, and we knew that time was of the essence, so we got a tour. It was like $300, but for $150 each, we got driven 2.5 hours to Cinque Terre, and we got dropped off in 3 spots. The guy gave us all kinds of information. He again was a scholar, and I believe his name was it was Claudio. And you got to get used to them driving like 100 and 110 miles an hour. It's very common. Don't freak out. But I've been told, and I strongly suggest you don't rent a car unless you're in some place like Pescheria del Garda, because there's not as many cars here, and there's not a lot of big highways, because you're just going to get run over. Unless you just love speed and you just love driving like a maniac, That's totally cool. This is our last day here. We actually got to rent a boat in Pescheria del Garda, and the boat rental was just awesome. We rented it with two other people from Holland. We just approached them because they were looking at the boats, and it's about $200 euro for 4 hours. And so we spent what, $110 because we spent 5 hours out there. And we got to go tie up at a place, eat, shop, and see a church that I've never seen such a beautiful church. The outside of it is just unbelievable. And we just got to experience stuff that I don't think we would do if we had a guide or what have you. So plan to jump off the train, plan to jump off the norm and do things that not everybody would do. It might cost you a little bit more, but I think that you'll be pleasantly surprised that you spent that money and that time doing that, because trying to just figure out, not unravel all this stuff, these guys come up with little nuggets of information. Like we went to, in Venice. Venice was crazy. Venice is built on a swamp. That's the way our guide described it. Venice is built on a swamp. I'm gonna go into more detail on that because Venice was awesome.